calves touch the rail on the rowing machine, or do you have one that does and one that doesn't? Well, let's talk about why it might be happening and what you can do about it. Okay, so when we talk about one touching, it looks a little bit like that, or both touching, which looks a little bit like that when you are rowing. So there's a couple of reasons that might happen. Some of it is positioning, and another is some strength reasons. And so the first thing to look at is your hips. Are you internally rotating at your hips, which usually ends up bringing your toes closer to the rail and your heels farther away? So another positioning one is, instead of internal rotation, are we actually externally rotated, where our toes are farther away from our rail and our heel is closer to the rail? The other positioning option is, when you're back here, do you have one foot that is actually closer to the rail, like shifted inwards, as opposed to the other one that's in a more neutral position straight in the center of the foot plate? So look at the foot plate and see where your feet are at. So all three of those positioning differences, you can look at your feet and kind of see which one of those you might be doing. But the real question is, why is it happening? So if one of your feet is closer in and the other one is nice and centered within that foot plate, there's a couple of reasons that might happen. It could be a muscle weakness thing, or it could be just a positioning that you haven't really thought about, and just trying it out and trying to stay more neutral might help. But if you find during the row one is shifting further in, then it's likely a weakness issue. Now, if you find that your toes are pointed in or your toes are pointed outwards, then it's likely a strength or a mobility issue. Now, mobility is the actual joint might not be able to move, and you might be more rotated one way versus the other. For instance, if you look at when you walk or you just stand, do your feet already point outwards, or are you kind of more pigeon-toed where your toes are pointing inwards? That can give you a little bit of info of, hey, this is where my positioning is that I like to stay. Also, I have a whole video on if you walk duck-footed, that's with your toes outwards, what you can do in the rowing machine to help you be in that more neutral position, so definitely check that out. So when it comes to the rotation, either inwards or outwards, that usually comes down to a strength issue with your butt and your hips, either with the internal rotators or the external rotators. Here's some exercises that you can do. But before I get into those exercises, I want to let you know that this channel is going in a little bit of a different direction, not only just helping you with what to pay attention to on the rowing machine, but also what to do off of the rowing machine to stay pain-free. So exercises and stretches and mobility and things like that, so that you can really work on those things that you want to work on to get even better on the rowing machine. So if you've got questions or issues that you want to know about, I'll make them some of my first videos. So please comment with those below. Hit that subscribe button so you get notified of the weekly new videos, and let's get into it. So if you can tell, my gym has been overtaken. I don't have a lot of space at the moment, but I'm gonna go over some of the exercises that you can do if you wanna work on those internal or external rotators. Some are just squats. I am gonna put the link below as well to each individual one of these exercises so you can see them with more information and more detail. But general overview, start with some squats. You can also do a single leg squat if you are comfortable with that, as far as you want to go down. Single leg balance without that hip jutting out will also really work on the stabilizers for those rotators, as well as deadlifts. So you can do single leg deadlifts or you can do double leg deadlifts. Both of those will help, but single leg will really get those rotator muscles and glutes really activated. If you're looking for things laying down, you can do a sideline leg lift. So if I'm laying on my side, I lift my leg up, or I could do something like clamshell like this. Again, those videos are below. But if you've got questions, let me know, and see you in the next video.